and 3 of you are going to get hydro flasks at the end. That's the best prize of all. Take it away.
Thank you, Troy. I'm Mike Gordon. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of Deliver. With me is Danielle Gicklhorn, who is the product lead for CDN at Microsoft. And we're here to talk about a brand new partnership that Deliver and Microsoft have to provide multi-CDN solutions for Azure and non-Azure customers. This is a familiar story that all of you are well aware of. Consumer behavior is rapidly changing, and it's driving a transition from legacy television distribution of video to an entirely internet and mobile world that awaits us in the future. It's a $500 billion global industry, and it's undergoing this rapid transition. As the central parts of the video industry move to the cloud, distribution of video streams from play out to play back are moving from the traditional television distribution infrastructure, cable networks and satellite networks, to the internet. And that's a radical change, and it's a radical change in 2 ways. The first is the infrastructure. So what we had in the legacy television world was distribution done by a single network operator that owned their infrastructure end to end, picked up a signal at play out, delivered it all the way to a set-top box where it was played back. All on a network they owned, controlled, managed, and had control of all the way down to the metal of every single component and down to the wavelength of every single piece of network infrastructure that made up that network. When we move to the internet, that changes. The devices are controlled by the manufacturers, Apple, Google, Samsung, Microsoft, Sony, etc. The networks are controlled by network operators, the networks that make up the internet. There are many of them. They are not managed end to end, and to an operator, they're not visible end to end. Equally importantly, the second change that's happening is responsibility for playback experience. In the legacy television world, that's the responsibility of the distributor, the television distributor who owns all that infrastructure. In the internet world, that responsibility now falls on the video company themselves. So where they used to stop at play out, now they're responsible all the way to play back for every single member of their audience. And they're doing it on an infrastructure that wasn't built for video. And the result of all of that is the thing we still experience today, and that's the buffering wheel, the slow starting video, the video that jumps up and jumps down in bitrate during playback. And while it's still great to get our video streams on the internet because they go with us where we go and they allow us to have access to an unlimited library of content, those quality of experience artifacts are still a challenge that the industry needs to overcome. Into this world comes my company, Deliver. What we've built is an innovative solution for solving this problem. The way the Deliver infrastructure works is we deliver a little bit of each video stream periodically throughout the stream. We call these heartbeats. We let the CDNs that normally power streams do most of the work. But as the video plays back, periodically we deliver a heartbeat of video. And that lets us keep track of the playback experience as it occurs for each individual consumer. We compare that experience to the data that was in the manifest that controlled that stream and that the device itself is using to properly retrieve and render the stream. And we're able to mathematically calculate the bit rate of the video, start time of the video, buffering events as they occur, and other critical quality of experience metrics. We're also able to determine the performance of the CDN, the user's access network conditions, and the performance of the video company's workflow, their playout stack, their ad tech, their ad insertion vendors, etc. So unlike everything that came before us, we can break down every individual stream as it plays out on the internet and tell you how each of the component providers in that video flow performed. Did the access network, if the video buffered or if it downshifted, was that because the user was too far from a mobile base station and the mobile network couldn't keep up, physics, etc., couldn't keep up with the playback rate of the stream? Or was it the CDN that couldn't keep up with the access network? Or was it the ad tech, the server-side ad insertion vendor, who was too slow to provide a personalized manifest that enabled the device to select and play the correct ad? We give you all of that data, and then we use that data in real time to make optimized streaming experiences for individual users. We've now announced or entered into a new partnership with Microsoft to embed this technology in Azure and in their overall video services. And Daniel would like to speak for a minute about how that works and what to expect.
Thanks, Mike. Oh, is the mic working? It is working. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. So at Microsoft, we really focus on how do we bring sort of your general overall business operations into the cloud, and how do we focus down on what are those core problems that you're solving on-prem, how do we make them simpler and easier to develop on the cloud. Within the overall video work stream, our media platform at Azure focuses on how do we give you really that end-to-end experience all the way from ingest, as our folks at Packet Fabric talked about, how do you get access to the cloud, build networks that connect to the cloud, through individual transcoding, and then out through delivery and even intelligence on it after that. So the focus that we have really around content delivery comes down to how do you really want to operate your overall delivery strategy. I'm really excited to work with Deliver here on how we can give you the optimized delivery experience, not just using our CDN, but we've partnered with Verizon and Akamai, and you can even bring your own CDN to be able to deliver a multi-CDN strategy all through the cloud, all through your Azure contract, and all structured with the same kind of friendly APIs that Azure manages to be able to optimize and drive your CDN services and deliver your content. We've done a lot over the last year really to bring all of that into the forefront so that you can really use it simply, easily, and that you can do it at a cost point that is competitive with one, other clouds, and two, what you're getting today, so that you can convert your contracts or you can bring your overall businesses into your cloud contract and to start to focus on not just the delivery part, but how do you actually tie that delivery part into the rest of your overall media workflow story. So with that, I think that's cool.
So you buy this service under your Microsoft customer agreement. What do you get and what should you expect? Well, first of all, what you get is the scale, reliability, and performance of the global Azure cloud powered by Microsoft, combined with software, algorithms, intelligence, and frankly, honest decision-making powered by Deliver. So for example, if you're using Azure CDN as one of your CDNs and it's not the best CDN, we'll make that decision and we'll provide a different CDN for a given user stream, etc. So you get all that combined in a single package under your Microsoft customer agreement. The end result is the right CDN is assigned to every individual stream, and we do it stream by stream, not thousands of streams at a time like many other solutions do. You get really high availability, instant failover in the event of an outage, whether that outage is in a CDN or an outage or an issue, whether that's in the CDN or the ad tech vendor or someplace else in the stack. I'll give you a little quick example of this. We have some customers that use Google Ad Manager. Maybe I shouldn't have named them. Well, I will. They use Google Ad Manager, and they had a partial failure. We have two customers that use it. They had a partial failure in their server-side ad solution in July. For both of those customers, we redirected users to unmonetized streams rather than streams that would wait for an ad and then eventually stop. And so those customers weren't able to get the ad revenue that they would normally get, but what they were able to get was when their users pushed play, the users got a video stream. And that is, after all, the most important thing that any of us want to accomplish for our audiences and users when we're doing internet video. We give you end-to-end view into the performance of your CDN, the access networks that users bring, your ad tech solution, and it's not just averages, it's detailed metrics that enable you to understand what's the 99th percentile and how do different levels of performance affect the eventual consequences that users see. And last but not least, you get really simplified multi-CDN. Super straightforward to plug in an extra CDN, take out a CDN, reallocate traffic amongst your CDNs, make one the highest priority or the lowest priority, and manage all of that in a streamlined way so that you can achieve the best possible results for your end users and your optimal business objectives. I think that concludes our presentation. Are there any questions before I get to the Hydro Flasks? Any questions I can answer?
Yeah. Do you require a software SDK to be delivered to the
We
user's
do
device?
not. Our solution is 100% cloud-based, so there's no SDK deployed in clients. There's no server agent or YAML file deployed on servers. There's no limitation as to what CDN or infrastructure you use to be the CDN, so you could have Akamai plus, I don't know, CloudFront, plus some servers of your own, Anything that will be a standard HTTP service for video segment files.
So what receives the heartbeat you send it?
So that's the trick of the service, and I'll keep this really quick and we can go deeper afterwards. You direct manifest requests to our service, and we custom configure a manifest for every individual stream. And we use the manifest to tell the device, get the stream from Azure CDN, but every now and then request a heartbeat segment from us.
Manifest manipulation.
We also read We also read the manifest and understand what this stream is supposed to look like technically. So if it plays back without any incident, we know mathematically how all the events that are going to occur. The one quick comment I'll make about manifest manipulation is it is manifest manipulation, but it doesn't touch the content. We never change any of the content. So it's not like ad insertion where you might have to deal with discontinuity tags and things like that. It's strictly where's the content coming from, what are the measurements that we can achieve, etc. That answer your question? Okay.
So does that kind of add some kind of latency to this?
It does not.
And how is that?
Great question. So first of all, I was one of the founders of Limelight Networks. I've been in the business for almost 20 years now. We built this infrastructure, our independent infrastructure, we built at the hardware layer to be super fast, but more importantly at the software layer to be good at one thing. And that one thing is read and write a manifest and then send the segment files that represent those heartbeat segments. But there's an even more fundamental thing we do. We have a circuit breaker at the front end. So if for any reason, at any point during a stream, we're not able to keep up with the stream, we will direct that stream to a CDN to serve the entire stream. So when we measure ourselves just as rigorously as we measure CDNs, and if for any reason we're not fast enough, including we can't get to your origin fast enough to get the heartbeat segment before we send it out, we will tell the user, go to the CDN and let the CDN do what the CDN is supposed to do. So we're not trying to get in the way of CDNs. What we are trying to do, though, is measure them relentlessly. And I think that's a good thing, personally. I think everyone should be measured, and we should be able to choose the right CDN based on that performance. Now, one last quick comment. When you then add that software layer to the immense capacity and performance of the Azure cloud with resources that are dedicated just to our service, you end up with a really high performance combination that it still has the circuit breakers, but is always able to run faster than the speed necessary to keep up with the stream that the CDN is powering.
So are you kind of then limited to the Azure network itself, the CDN network? Or
No.
Okay.
No, as Daniel said, you can use Azure CDN or not. You can use their third-party pre-integrated CDNs, Verizon and Akamai, or not. You can bring your own CDNs. So you can use this service with, I shouldn't be letting you answer, but you can use the service with Azure encoding, Azure Multi-CDN powered by Deliver, and all 3 CDNs you brought. Completely, we may never even have heard of them, but you can configure them in conjunction with the service and run it that way if you want.
Yeah, my goal is to make sure that the CDNs that you use through Azure are the simplest and easiest that you can get, and that we give you the kind of management experience that brings you further and further onto the cloud from wherever you are today.
Yeah, one of the big advantages of the partnership with Azure is that they have pre-integrated the Azure CDN, Akamai, and Verizon into this mix. So to the extent you want to use those 2 of them or all 3 of them, it's pre-defined and very easy to implement.
What about with tokenization?
We support both inbound and outbound tokens, so we'll support the token scheme you're using today, Akamai's or Azure's or Verizon's or someone's. We will also then apply tokens. It's policy driven, so you decide what level you want tokenization at. Master manifest, media manifest, every individual segment file, etc.
If you were to do a bring your own CDN with some of the smaller CDNs, say in a certain region or something,
Mhm.
what challenges might you encounter with that?
Tokenization. So to the extent, let's say you had users in the Nordics and you wanted to use Kubrick. We don't currently support the Kubrick tokenization scheme. It's a little bit of software. We'd be happy to build it. You have to share the secret with us. But other than that, there's no obstacle to it. We even support cookie tokenization. I'm sorry, I should say cookie authentication. Yeah.
Okay, last chance. Questions, everybody? A lot of questions there.
Come on, one more for Daniel. Stump Daniel.
Come on.
Midstream switching?
Because I won't shut up. Yes, we do midstream switching, principally in live and linear because you get many chances to rewrite the manifest.
Based on the buffer health, or how does it trigger?
It's triggered based on our measurements of the stream health. And our overall measurements of how the CDN is performing for each individual customer, that's another point I should have made, in that location. So that access network, that geographic location, and for you. So we're not mixing and matching or blending your measurements with ESPNs. It's strictly how do they perform for you, and if one of them configures you with more resource than another, you'll get the benefit of that in our performance measurements and how we do that switching.
Maybe this is for Daniel. So I think in last year's conference, you were kind of talking about the hybrid CDNs, right?
Yes.
It looks like Microsoft has made a lot of progress in expanding your network. Can you maybe comment on where Microsoft kind of stands today in terms of where you're taking the expanded network, and obviously you don't have to give us the roadmap, but at least give us an overview of what the state of the union.
Yeah. So I think when we were here, it was like a year and a half ago. Yep, in New York, we were talking about how we were launching our own infrastructure into the Azure CDN portfolio. Since then, we've expanded to a huge number of markets. So like we've gone basically, we're deploying about an edge site a week, so about a metro a week these days to be able to expand to new markets. Part of that's something that's just driven by the cloud needs access everywhere. And so as we expand and as we expand our capabilities there, we're moving up and up and up the stack in terms of how much we actually deliver from our network versus how much do we rely on partners to deliver. But what we're really looking to get is basically parity in the next, actually we're close by the end of the year, in terms of all three of our offerings. And that solves a lot of the problems that we have customers come to us with, which is like token auth and things like that you can't necessarily do across multi-CDN very easily, but we have enabled that through Akamai and Verizon and our own CDNs, so that you can have at least 2, if not 3 CDNs everywhere around the globe. And we've optimized the peering with our partner CDNs as well. So our objective is to carry it on our backbone, even for cache fill, as far as we possibly can. And that gives, especially for live video or even for OTT video that you may not want to store in geographically diverse locations, a significantly better performance boost by riding our low packet networks.